So, it's one of those days we got a fake in here. No harm, no foul. The guy who brought it by just wanted a legit check, but he was cool enough to let us borrow it for this. We do have a real one and we do have a fake one, so I'm just gonna show you the differences between both. Right off rip, before we even open up the box, if you want to get a closer look at the plastic on here, the Nike Air is actually really crisp, whereas over here, this is already falling apart. From what I've seen, a lot of the print on the plastic sleeve is never that crispy. So even on the little face right there, you can see the ink coming off right away. Whereas all these ones are nice and crispy. Same thing with the Nike Air right here. It's fully solid. This one's already kind of falling apart. A little hard to see, but it is coming off on the Wings logo right here too. But from what I've seen, almost every single time the fakes always have like not the greatest print on the plastic, and a lot of times the plastic is a little more foggy. I'm not sure if you can tell looking at this one. It is foggier as opposed to the real one. And then another thing, the plastic on the real one usually fits a little more sleek. It's a little more fitted. Whereas on the fake, see how wide the pockets are on the side? It's never quite as fitted. Usually it's just a little bit off on the sizing, but that's the plastic sleeve. So moving on to the box, color is off. So this, especially if it's been in the plastic sleeve the whole time, it should be kind of a sail cream color. This one, the box is a little too pale. For sure, it's a little more on the white side of things. This one's cream. And then the blue, if you were to compare those two, I'm not sure if you can tell, this is a little more bold. This is a lot more matted. So just some things to look out for. This is the legit pair, so I'll leave it over here with the legit box. Taking out the fakey, actually before I even get into the shoe, the lid, this was the other thing that we were kind of talking about. The blue, just kind of like I was talking about on the top of the lid. The blue is more, it's like richer looking on the real. And then on the fake one, you can actually see the lines a little bit more. This is just a solid, everything's like flush, everything's nice. The swoosh stamp, the Nike stamp, it's all really like solid. On this side, not so much, it looks kind of dingy. And same thing, the swoosh print and then the Nike check, they're not as crisp as the real pair. So just something else to look out for. If you guys are buying stuff like this and don't really know what you're looking for, just try to go through as many steps as possible. Be on the safe side. Trying to flatten this out for you a little bit. The pink on the legit pair on the paper, same thing, just like the lid. It's a little more bold. On the fake pair, not as bold. And funny enough, the same thing like I was talking about on the plastic sleeve, some of this stuff isn't as bold. So like the Nike Air, it's never going to be perfect because it's just print on paper. It's a lot more solid, whereas over here, I don't know if you can pick that up, it's a lot more pixelated. So the shape is good on all of it, but kind of same thing, that wing logo, that Nike Air, and then that Nike Air, just right off rip, I can already tell it's not like a good print. Whereas everything else over here is a little more crisp. This paper is a little more glossy, and then the paper itself is a more bold shade of pink. Now, let's get the shoe out. So kind of random enough, the fake pair and then one of the pairs we had on display was a size 12. Consignor did lace theirs up, but aside from that, I can tell you right off rip, this is a lot taller than this one. And then so the legit pair, it's not choked or anything, it's super loose laced. That shouldn't be that hindered on the height. The Jordan 1s are never gonna sit this flat either. This is just almost no curve whatsoever. The other thing that I was noticing that was a little off, the color of the midsole, if I can put those side by side. And then funny enough, the blue on the outer sole, it's almost just like the box. A lot more bold on the real, a little more dull on the fake pair. But the midsole for sure, it's a lot lighter here, too dark over here. Let's see, another thing off rip that I had noticed, I believe the toe box was a little wide, if that helps. Real pair.
Real pair.
And then the fake pair. Toe box is a little bit wider, especially over here, you can kind of tell. It's not like the most in-your-face thing, I will be transparent about that, but it is a little bit wider. The holes on the toe box too are a little more pronounced on the real pair. They're slightly smaller on the fake. Cactus Jack print right here. You can kind of tell it's gonna reflect just a little bit It's a dull paint here. One of the other things too is the print that's right here, the real pair. It's more bold. The fake pair is thinner. And it's a cheaper ink that they use. So along the sides over here, you can kind of tell some of the ink moved off of this one. I believe it came off the left pair. Let me get that for you. Yeah. There's a fat smudge on there. But for a brand new pair that's unworn, that's sitting in a box, it shouldn't be smudging off that fast. The color on the tongue too. It's a little off. Just like the midsole, and then just like the swoosh actually. The swoosh is a little closer to the real one, but it is just slightly darker. Kind of like the midsole. The tongue is just a little bit darker. And then the lace, I want to say, is just a little bit thinner. And we'll compare the backs too. Funny enough, I feel like the fakes have a nicer stamp on the back. So the real pair right there, I feel like it looks, I mean, maybe I'm tripping, but I feel like they always look a little bit crispier on the fake pairs. Actually here, this is a better example. It's a good stamp, the Fragment logo or embossing. I feel like it looks just a little bit crispier on the fake pairs. For whatever stupid reason, every time I've seen a fake of these, I feel like the embossing on the back heel is always nicer than the real pairs. It's a little more inconsistent on the real for whatever stupid reason. It's like dummy consistent on the fakes. So keep that in mind too. The reverse swoosh too. Color around it, it's a little bit darker on the real. The pink's actually just a little bit lighter around the edges on the fake. And it's there's a lot more that shows on the fake. I'm not sure if you can see that. A little bit less that you can see that's exposed there. And then the fake one is just a little more exposed. That cut of leather is just a little bit thicker. The other thing I was gonna say, the wax laces. The bag, I mean, you can't feel it through the camera. The bag's nice and thick, the plastic. This one's actually not too bad, but it is thinner for sure. So that's one thing to take a look out for. Make sure that you're getting a bag that's not going to be like a thin, flimsy plastic. It should always be a little bit thicker. Not too easy to just like stretch. I'm not going to put too much weight or pressure on it because, I mean, it's not mine. I don't want to damage it. But this one is a little bit thinner, a little bit flimsier. Just something to look out for. This one's actually nicer. It's clearer. This one's already getting kind of foggy. And it's obviously never been detached from the shoe. But I mean, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Just look for the colors of, like I said, the box lid, underneath the box lid, the paper. The midsole on this one was off a lot of it. Honestly, shape is pretty good on the shoe overall. It is a little flat and tall, like I said. And then little things like the swoosh and then the toe box is a little wide, but for the most part, honestly, it's not a bad fake. So for the most part, the thing that I caught with this one, even the box size was the same. It's mostly the colors that are off, but just kind of to reiterate, plastic on the sleeves, take a look at that. Does it look like it's fitted? Does it look like the print is good? From there, like I said, the box lid on the top and the bottom of it. Look at the paper. If the person happens to not have a box for whatever reason, just make sure that the shape of the shoe looks good. Look at the toe box. Look at how tall the shoe is. Look at the colors. Look at how the ink on the side is. Is it smudging off really easily? Is there like a shadow of ink around it? There's a lot of things that can go wrong on this shoe, but I think a lot of people will just kind of let the best of themselves get a deal done when they probably shouldn't. They'll see a good deal, see a hot item, and they'll pull the trigger, but just be safe. That's all. Thanks.